Good morning. Coming in live to you guys this morning from Jetty Park Beach. We're here still for another 3 days, but every morning I have gotten up to take a walk. Um, Not something that I do as often at home as I would like, but I do it every morning here. Sometimes the girls are with me, sometimes they're not. Um, but this morning, as I was walking, because in our lead program right now, we are talking specifically about how we lead ourselves through our communication style. I was thinking about the habit of the way that I was walking. If you followed my story the last couple of days at all, oh, thanks for jumping on, Anna. Now, if you followed my stories the last couple of days at all, I love the Nike Run app because I can take a screenshot of kind of like where I've been and how far I went. And then I just snap it up in my stories. For me, it's more of like accountability for myself than it is to be like, hey, look where I walked. But I noticed this morning as I was walking, I walked out the gates and down the pier and back. There's some elevation there, which I love. So up the pier and back. And then I take these steps and I come down the same little path to the beach. And then I walk the beach until I hit the fishermen. And then I turn around and walk back and enjoy this beautiful sunrise while I'm doing that. Hold on, let me see if I can flip this around Akko Taco real quick so that you guys can see this beautiful sunrise. So there's the pier I'm talking about. And then all the way down there are the fishermen, and then Cocoa Beach is that way. So anyway, as I'm walking down the dirt path, I kind of chuckled at myself because I was like, there's four other paths here. There's four other paths right here. And I choose to go down this specific one every single time. You know, why do I do that? And I kind of laughed at myself and I thought, well, it's habit. And then because my brain is a squirrel, I was like, as we're talking about communication this week in our time to lead group, how much of our communication is habit also? How much of our communication is we're just used to responding in a certain way? Or one of the things I encouraged the group this week is when we think about communication, we specifically think about the way that we say things. We think about the tone in our voice. We think about the words that we use, our vocabulary. But we flipped the switch this week and I got them to think more about the piece of communication that comes with listening. So how are we intentionally listening and not listening to respond, but sorry, wind was in my eye nuggets. Not listening to respond, but listening to understand. And the challenge for them this week was specifically to seek out making listening a priority to their teams and in their other relationships, like with their spouses, with their children, with their friends. And some ways that we can do that is by asking questions, but coming up with questions to ask sometimes can feel silly. We can feel like we are intruding or like we're being nosy. And I want to encourage you this morning to think about creating the habit of asking questions in your communication and really listening to understand what the other person is saying to you and how they're sharing their feelings and what you're hearing from them and how you can either support or you can encourage. Because we have this habit specifically of as somebody brings something up, it twinges a memory in our mind about ourselves because it's most comfortable for us to talk about ourselves. So then it's not really a one up, but it's definitely like it's a way of trying to connect with that person and responding to share something about yourself instead of asking a question about what they just talked to you about. So I would ask you guys to challenge yourselves this week in your listening and in your communication to just be aware and take a look at the habits that you are forming around your communication. And again, habits aren't bad. Habits are not good. Habits just are. And the cool thing is we get to decide, we get to choose. I like to use choice instead of decision. But we get to choose what we want that communication to look like And we can alter that, change that, improve that by just being aware in the moment and changing it up if it's something that doesn't feel right or if we know that we could do even better. So, in your listening this week, and I'd love to hear about it. You can shoot me a DM if you want to, or you can come back on here and do a comment on here. But I'd love to hear how really being aware of your communication and not just being in the habit of how you respond or the habit of how you instantly try to connect and talk about yourself. I'd love to hear how you guys are changing up that habit of your communication. Again, habits are not good or bad, habits just are. And it's something that we do over and over and over, often unconscious, like we just we just do it because it's what we've always done. So it'll take some work to be aware and be in the moment. But I just invite you guys to do that, and I'd love to hear about how it goes. And you may, as you get into the habit of asking questions, you may find yourself in some really interesting conversations that can really deepen relationships that you maybe had only touched the surface of before and maybe didn't realize that you had as much in common or you had as much to talk about. I hope you guys have a beautiful Tuesday and that those of you that are on spring break are enjoying that time with your family and your friends. I just get a glimpse of this sunrise and I love it. I love it every morning. All right, you guys, you have a great day. Let's think about our communication this week and make sure that it's not just a habit of how we respond, but that we are making some intention behind the habit maybe of asking questions, the habit of intentionally listening, the habit of seeking people out to have conversation. And I hope you guys have a great day.